Hey, good afternoon. My name is Dustin Spittler. Last week on Faith Fuel Devotionals, we were getting into Matthew chapter number 5, verses 21 and 22. And Jesus was really giving some revolutionary teaching of the time. He said, "You've heard about the Old Testament commandment, thou shalt not kill. Well, I say unto you that you're not even supposed to hate your brother. You're not even supposed to call somebody raka or call somebody fool because it's just as dangerous for you and it's just as much of a big a deal." He's really taking the letter of the law and then digging down into the heart of the law. So last week we were looking at this idea of understanding the letter of the law. Today I want to talk about living the law, and it's really going to be in two parts. The first one that we're going to see today is in verse 23 and 24 of Matthew chapter 5. I'll read it for you. "Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee," or means he has offended. There's an offense between the two of you. Somebody's offended somebody. So you bring your gift to the altar, but you remember, oh no, I got a problem with my brother. Verse 24, "Leave there thy gift before the altar and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift." Today, I want to talk about this idea of relational awareness. This is very important when it comes to walking with God. And it's something that most of us kind of take for granted, or we think it's not as big as a deal as other things out there. So what if, me and my brother, or me and my Christian brother or sister, or me and a family member aren't at odds? I mean, doesn't everybody have trouble getting along with certain people? Does it really matter if I'm in good relationship with the people that God has put in my life? And the answer to that question really is yes. And it really comes up with this question: why is Jesus talking about this? I thought we were talking about, thou shalt not kill and hate and all these sort of things. Well, he's really trying to give safeguards for us to understand how we don't get to this place of hate. How do I prevent getting to this place where I'm calling somebody a fool and I'm in danger of the judgment, or I'm in danger of hellfire? How do I prevent myself from getting there? Well, we really got to nip it in the bud, as Barney Fife said, and really work on relational awareness. How am I, how are we getting along with one another? Now, this idea of brother, this does mean family members, but it also can mean your church family, the Christian family at large. How are we getting along with one another? And those relationships do matter. Are we right with our fellow man? Now, he's talking about two things here. First of all, he's talking about bringing a gift to the altar. This is speaking of ideas of worship. If you're going to come and worship, if you're going to come and give sacrifice to God, if you're going to come and give a gift to God, you need to come in the right way. So before you do something externally in the form of worship, it is important to look inward and make sure everything is right between you and God and you and man. And so this idea of giving gifts and offering sacrifices, all this is talking about is worship. Our worship is very important. We are supposed to do it. You and I need worship, not because God needs it, but because it helps us in our life. And so when I come to worship on a Sunday at church, or in the privacy of my own prayer closet at my home, I need to make sure I look inwardly and make sure things are right. 16:6 talks about how the Hebrew people were commanded 3 times a year. They would appear before God at different feasts: the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of Weeks, the Feast of Tabernacles, and they were not commanded they were rather commanded to not come empty-handed. It says, "Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of the Lord God, which it shall be given thee." And this is just a basic understanding that God has given us so much. God is looking after us. We should return gifts in like kind if we can. And usually we do have the ability to. And so we need to look inwardly before we worship, and we need to make sure that we are right with our brother and sister. It says, if you remember that you and your brother have some sort of problem, you need to leave your gift at the altar, before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come back and offer thy gift. And this is something very important. It's teaching us here that our relationships with each other can impact and affect our relationship with God. If I'm not right with my brother, Jesus is teaching, that's going to affect my rightness with the Lord. And so the question is, if he goes and he offers that gift when he knows there's something wrong, did God honor his gift? No. He's pretty much saying that man who came and tried to honor the Lord with a gift, but did not honor his brother in trying to make amends, his sacrifice really was a waste of his time. And it didn't have any effect on his relationship with the Lord. This is very important, and this is a very interesting thing. You can read later Matthew chapter 18, which is one of the best passages on interpersonal relationships within the church. Matthew 18, verses 15 through 17. And verse 15 says, moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go tell him his fault between him and he alone, thee and him alone, and if he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. And this is important of going out of your way to make sure that you're right, because your relationships do matter. Boy, what's the point? Why should I do that? This person wronged me. Why should I go out of my way to make sure it's right? Because that's what Christians are supposed to do. Do you remember the Beatitudes? Blessed are the peacemakers. These things are important. Don't you remember what Jesus said? We are light. We are salt. We have influence, and we need to use our influence. And we need to, as much as we can, make the wrongs in our life right. Now, that's not always going to work on everybody's part. Everybody may not reciprocate that sort of feeling, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't attempt to do it, because this is how we stop this hate in our hearts. This is how we nip it in the bud when it comes to what Jesus is saying, thou shalt not kill. How's your relationship? Are you relationally aware of people in your life? Can I just say, if you have somebody in your mind that you say, you know what, I'm not right with this person, or maybe I'm not right with this person, can I just encourage you? Be willing to write them a letter, write them an email, give them a phone call, text message, video chat, whatever means of communication you feel like the Lord wants you to do. You should do your part to be right with your fellow man, because our horizontal relationships definitely affect our vertical relationships. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.